Continue on Buckingham Avenue for 3/4 of a mile. Continue for 1.5 miles. In 300 yards, keep right to continue towards Tons Lane, A355.
Some odd million people trust him, think
right.
Over here called the Independent, and there's a map. I mean, I could have picked any of the newspapers over here, Charles, but you know, I was at college right in the middle, right in Kansas, in Wichita State. I was a shocker, Charles. I'm looking at this map, and there's a great big red bit in the middle, which is Trump win, and from just
In a quarter of a mile, at the roundabout, take the first exit onto the M4 slip road to London Heathrow Airport.
all the way across from North Dakota in the north to Texas in the south, Iowa in the upper Midwest to Louisiana deep south, from Alabama to Indiana and Florida tacked on as well. There's no blue at all. This is a very, very polarized country now.
Well, it is, but also keep in mind that many of those states, with the exception of Texas, which has a pretty big population, you're talking about a lot of states. And, I grew up in New York City, so for me, those are all the so-called flyover states.
Oh, you're so sophisticated. You're so full of culture and so worldly. Yeah, I bet you even got a passport.
In a quarter of a mile, merge onto M4.
Over states. I spent 4 years of my life living and loving there. How dare you?
A lot of these states are not as populated as California where I am. We got 40 million people in New York State. There's another, 20 plus million people in Massachusetts, New Jersey, Connecticut, state of Washington, state of Oregon, state of Illinois. These states have, in terms of population,
Continue on M4 for 9 miles. 2 miles, at junction 3, take the A312 exit to Harrow, Hayes.
Joe Biden's claiming he'll have a clear and convincing win in the US presidential election. From the White House, Donald Trump's sharing on Twitter again unsubstantiated allegations of voter fraud. Britain's imposed an immediate travel ban on any visitors from Denmark over fears of a mink-linked COVID strain. The weather fog and mist to start, longer to clear Scotland and parts of northern England. Elsewhere dry, sunny and mild today with a high of 17 degrees.
LBC Travel, I'm Katie Tyler. The M4 is shut this weekend between junction 10 for Wokingham and junction 11 for Reading because of roadworks. It's due to open again during the early hours of Monday. On the A2, a lane is closed westbound just before the Danson interchange. That's because of emergency repairs taking place. On the trains, the overground has no service between Surrey Quays and Clapham Junction, and South Western Railway have buses running instead of trains. That's from Barnes to Hounslow and Teddington via Richmond, and South Eastern have buses between Orpington and Tunbridge today.
This is LBC.
At Morrison's, selected tubs of chocolate are only £2 for £7. Choose from Celebrations, Heroes, Quality Street and Roses. Morrison's, making it cost less. Majority of stores and online, subject to availability, 600 grams to 650 grams, £3.99 each, ends 8th of November.
Betfair Casino launches brand new slot games every week. They're so new, if they were a car, they'd smell fantastic. So new, if they were a pair of trainers, they'd be brighter than the sun. So new, if they were a dog, they would still be peeing on the carpet. Feel the feeling of brand new newness and get 50 free spins with Betfair Casino now. Free spins apply to new Betfair Casino customers only. Available on selected games. T's and C's at betfair.com. 18 plus. BeGambleAware.org.
The only because it's Friday food. The impulse or in the queue in front of you. In-wait treats. MasterCard is the safe and easy way to pay online, in-store or on the move. For the little things, the big
In a quarter of a mile, at junction 3, take the A312 exit to Harrow, Hayes.
From now until Monday the 9th of November, you can buy an approved used car from Volvo Select with 0% APR finance. With over 150 checks, so no need to kick the tires. A 12-month warranty, which you'll probably never use.
Exit at junction 3.
Upgrades, which you definitely will. Visit volvocars.co.uk now to book your virtual appointment.
Used vehicles up to 4 years old. Participating retailers.
In a quarter of a mile, at Cranford Parkway interchange, take the third exit onto the Parkway, A312.
I'm Jake, and I'm a cleaner for TfL. We're keeping the transport network cleaner and safer than ever before by regularly spraying all our services with hospital-grade antiviral disinfectant. It kills viruses and bacteria on contact, so the network is as safe as possible for everyone. Please also remember, everyone must wear a face covering at all times, unless you are exempt. To the Mayor of London and TfL, every journey matters.
And when you hear the sound, you'll forget about all things complicated. Monthly fixed costs, binding contracts, customers forgetting their card. Running your own business, make card payments simple with Summer. Get your reader now at summer.co.uk. This is LBC.
Exit the roundabout onto the Parkway.
560600973. Tweet at LBC. Text 84850.
21 minutes past 7. We still don't
Continue on the Parkway for 1 mile.
think it's going to happen. And Vice President Kamala Harris. This is quite an amazing time in America. A woman of color to be at the very top level of the executive in the United States. Does Donald Trump, in your opinion, have any grounds for challenging legally the results of the election? And why did the pollsters get it so wrong? I mean, absolutely horrendous. This was supposed to be a Biden landslide. But anybody who knows human nature, get out of your office, get off your computer, listen to people, go talk to people. You knew it wasn't going to be a landslide. Okay, you might think that Trump is a total embarrassment, he's been ridiculous, but actually a lot of people support him. 70 million, what are we going to do with them? I mean, in many ways, that's a success to increase the amount of votes you got to 70 million. Now, where is that anger and emotion going to go? You tell me, 34560600973. David is in Enfield. Morning, David.
Good morning, Andrew. I just wanted to comment on this focus on the age of
Yes.
Joe Biden, because if you look at our own parliament, in the House of Lords, which is now over 800 members with all the recent appointments, there's
In a quarter of a mile, at Wagoners Roundabout, take the second exit and stay on the parkway, A312.
Couple of big differences there, David. Not one of those people in the House of Lords has got their finger on the big red button that says bomb. The big red button that the codes, the nuclear codes in the United States. This guy is the leader of the free world, and he's got 4 years ahead of this. And it appears to me, he just appears. Some people would think that I'm being unfair here, but
Exit the roundabout onto the parkway. Continue on A312 for 1.5 miles.
grandfatherly demeanour who's going to actually sort of sit down and pull the country together.
It's going to take a massive effort, isn't it? I mean, to actually run the United States of America, to be the boss, to be the focus, to be at the centre of this storm which is coming. An extraordinary endeavour for a man of 77 years. I do see that he's born on the 20th of November then, so I like him even more now. He's a Scorpio like me. David, you take care of yourself. Thanks ever so much for that, particularly that number on the House of Lords. Very interesting to realize so many were over the age of 80. I suppose you can just look at the TV pictures, you can see that. The paper's in just a second, but one story that we are featuring, not on the front pages, but no doubt on the inside, is these Liverpool citywide corona testing centres. I wonder how they're functioning, and I wonder how the city has responded. What is the purpose of testing on a citywide basis, and is it going to be rolled out elsewhere? No doubt some of the answers from Liam Gotting, LBC's reporter, outside one of these test centres in Liverpool. Morning, Liam.
Yes, good morning, Andrew. Well, it is day 2, as you mentioned, but let me just give you a little rundown of what day 1 looked like here. If you missed our report on LBC, it opened at about 12 o'clock, and quickly a mass queue began to form here all the way down the street outside the Liverpool Tennis Centre, where I am now in Wavertree, and it lasted for the vast majority of the day. Was it a success? Well, we've not been given an exact figure on how many people exactly were tested, but from just the sheer amount of people that were here, I think it's safe to say that at least thousands of people received a test here in Liverpool, and that's just at one of the 6 testing sites that were opened yesterday. The city's mayor, Joe Anderson, said the people of Liverpool did not let us down on the first day of testing. This is a huge logistical exercise, the likes of which has never been tried before, and I'd like to thank everyone for their patience and understanding. But actually, there was a fair amount of criticism to what happened yesterday, particularly on social media, with people saying that they turned up to find that social distancing wasn't really being enforced in the queue, and that essentially hundreds of people at a time were bunched up while trying to get inside and receive their test, while others said they had to wait over 2 hours to actually get in, despite having booked a slot online, because people were not booking and just turning up and getting in the queue, and that was that really. So perhaps not perfect, but we are only on day 2 of the pilot, and if I'm being honest, the plans have faced a bit of criticism really from the get-go, with a lot of people on social media making it clear that they will simply not be taking the test. Many have voiced their concern